A single week can change everything if you decide it will. Transformation does not require decades of struggle or years of waiting. It begins the moment you make an unshakable decision to take control of your own mind. The greatest power in this world is not the one that rules nations or commands armies. It is the power that rules thought, because thought shapes action, action shapes habit, and habit shapes destiny. The truth that many never realize is that their lives are not determined by luck, by circumstance, or by the people around them. They are shaped by the quiet conversations that happen inside the mind every single day. The quality of those thoughts defines the quality of life itself. When you begin to understand that the mind is the master key, everything changes. It is no longer about what the world gives you, but what you give yourself through intention and focus. Each thought carries energy. It builds a direction, a pattern, a vibration that eventually materializes into experience. If your thoughts are scattered, your life will be scattered. If your mind is strong and focused, your life will move with precision and purpose. There is a law to this, an invisible order behind every success story and every downfall. Those who learn to master their minds rise above circumstance. Those who neglect it become victims of their own chaos. The decision to master the mind is the beginning of real freedom. For the first time, you stop being pulled by emotion, fear, and external influence, and you start leading from the inside out. It's like discovering a hidden engine that's been running your entire life. Only now, you finally take the wheel. You begin to see that the difference between failure and success is not intelligence, not opportunity, not even hard work. It's the state of mind behind every action. A calm, determined mind can create results where others see impossibility. A mind clouded with doubt can destroy the greatest of opportunities. And this, DR, in this journey of TR, transformation, there comes a realization that change is not about adding more to your life. It's about removing what no longer serves you. It's about breaking the habit of uncontrolled thinking, of mental noise, of living in reaction instead of intention. Most people wake up each day with their minds already occupied by problems, stress, and distractions before they even open their eyes. They carry the weight of yesterday into today, repeating cycles that never move them forward. But the moment you decide to discipline your mind, everything starts to align. You no longer chase peace. It begins to flow through you. You no longer fight for focus. It becomes your natural state. There is a great misconception that life mastery comes from controlling external situations, but it always begins within. You can change jobs, environments, relationships, or cities, yet the same patterns will follow until you change the root, the mind. When you master your thoughts, you no longer become easily shaken by the noise around you. You begin to walk through chaos with calmness. You handle uncertainty with clarity. You respond instead of react. You choose peace even when the world pushes you toward frustration. That is the true strength of a trained mind. The first step toward mastery is awareness, becoming conscious of what you think, what you believe, and what you constantly tell yourself. Because the mind listens to every word you speak, every emotion you allow, every image you hold. If you continually tell yourself you are limited, life will mirror that limitation. If you feed your mind with vision, belief, and gratitude, life will respond with opportunities, inspiration, and alignment. The mind is a fertile field. Whatever seeds you plant will grow. The question is, what have you been planting? When you begin this path of mastering the mind, you stop living as a prisoner of habit and start living as an architect of purpose. You realize that every thought is a tool, every decision a brush. Stroke on the canvas of your destiny. And the moment you choose to take full responsibility for what happens within, the world outside begins to transform in ways that seem almost miraculous. Because when the mind changes, everything changes. That is the power that can alter a week, a life, and a future. It all begins with one choice: to master your mind. There comes a moment in every person's life when they realize that the true battle was never with the world around them. It was always within. The real turning point happens the instant you understand that nothing external holds real power over your destiny. Situations, people, and conditions can influence, but they cannot define. Every great transformation begins with this recognition: the mind is not just a part of life, it is the origin of it. The greatest gift you can give yourself is the awareness that every circumstance you experience first existed as a thought. What you continually think about becomes what you eventually walk into. This is not just an idea. It is the law that governs every achievement, every failure, and every moment of growth. Napoleon Hill once revealed a principle so simple yet so profound that it became the foundation of countless success stories across the world. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. These are not just words of inspiration, they are the blueprint for transformation. When you truly grasp the meaning behind them, you stop living reactively. You stop waiting for things to happen and you start making them happen by the strength of your focus. Hill's teachings were never about wishful thinking. They were about harnessing the most powerful creative force known to humanity, the mind's ability to believe in its own vision. When you believe with clarity and emotion, the mind begins to act as a magnet, pulling circumstances, ideas, and people toward that belief. It stops being theory the moment you test it in your own life. For years, people chase motivation, searching for external voices to push them forward. But the real transformation begins when you discover the internal voice that commands your destiny. Once you learn to direct your thoughts consciously, life stops feeling like a random sequence of events. You begin to notice patterns, the connection between the inner dialogue you repeat and the outer experiences you attract. The mind works like a transmitter, sending signals through thoughts and beliefs, and the universe responds accordingly. When those signals are filled with doubt, fear, or hesitation, the return is struggle and stagnation. But when they're filled with faith, purpose, and gratitude, the return is opportunity and elevation. This realization changes everything because it shifts the source of power from outside to inside. Suddenly you stop depending on luck or circumstance, and you start cultivating mental discipline. You stop blaming and start building. You stop wishing and start working from a place of conviction. It's not the world that has to become easier, it's your mind that must become stronger. The moment that strength takes root, life begins to bend in your favor. The energy you carry becomes your attraction point. You start to see that confidence is not arrogance, it's alignment. Peace is not the absence of problems, it's the mastery of thought in the middle of them. When you internalize this truth, a quiet certainty forms inside you. You understand that your thoughts are commands to your subconscious, and your subconscious obeys them without question. The more you dwell on lack, the more lack appears. The more you dwell on abundance, purpose, and possibility, the more life expands in that direction. The mind does not know the difference between what is imagined and what is real. It only knows what is repeated. That's why belief is the seed of all creation. When you choose to believe in your vision, even before the evidence appears, you activate one of the greatest powers within you, the POW. Are to shape reality through unwavering focus. And that is where transformation begins, the moment you stop being a passenger of your thoughts and become the driver. You start building mental habits that strengthen focus, self-belief, and clarity. You begin to understand that your life is not waiting for permission to change, it's waiting for direction. You give that direction through thought, through belief, through intention. This is the point where the journey of mental mastery truly begins. The point where you stop being ruled by the chaos of the mind and start ruling through conscious creation. Because when the mind believes, life follows. The decision to take control is the decision that changes everything. The first habit that transformed everything began with the simplest yet most powerful practice, commanding the morning before it commands you. Every day starts as a blank page, but most people hand the pen to the world the moment they wake up. They check messages, scroll through distractions, and react before they even breathe consciously. What they don't realize is that the first few minutes after waking are sacred. The mind is open, receptive, and ready to be programmed. Whatever enters in those first moments shapes the vibration of the entire day. When you begin your morning with clarity instead of chaos, you set a mental foundation that nothing throughout the day can easily shake. It's not about waking up earlier or following a rigid routine. It's about beginning with awareness. The act of centering yourself before the noise begins is a declaration that your mind belongs to you, not to the world. Each morning, take a moment of silence before the rush of thoughts begins. Breathe deeply and deliberately. Remind yourself that you are in control of your direction today. It may sound small, but this single habit creates an invisible shift of power from reaction to intention. By consciously deciding your emotional state before the day unfolds, you begin to operate from a place of design, not default. Speak life into your morning. Affirm your strength, your peace, your purpose. Tell yourself what kind of day you will have before the world has the chance to decide for you. This is not pretending everything will be perfect. It is programming your mind to respond with clarity no matter what challenges appear. The most powerful people in history were not those who simply reacted to life, but those who started each day with purpose. A focused morning builds an unshakable mindset. When you wake up and center yourself through thought, reflection, or gratitude, you align your inner world with what you want to experience outwardly. It's not superstition, it's the way energy flows. Thoughts have momentum. The first dominant emotion you feel in the morning often sets the tone for every decision, every conversation, every opportunity that follows. By choosing calm, gratitude, and determination first thing in the morning, you train your subconscious to expect peace, to attract progress, and to move with confidence. There is a difference between waking up and truly awakening. Waking up means your body is alert, but awakening means your spirit and mind are aligned. When you start your day consciously, you no longer stumble into life. You step into it with certainty. You become intentional with your time, your words, your focus. You stop letting emotions decide how the day will go and begin deciding that for yourself. Each morning becomes a rehearsal of success, not through force, but through focus. Even 5 minutes of stillness, gratitude, or visualization can transform the course of your day because it's not about how long you do it. It's about how deeply you mean it. So, make every sunrise a conversation with your own mind. Ask yourself, what kind of energy will I bring today? What kind of person will I be? You begin to understand that success isn't something that happens in the afternoon. It's born in the first moments of the morning. A person who commands their morning commands their direction, and a person who commands their direction commands their destiny. When you wake with purpose, you no longer drift through life hoping for meaning. You create it, minute by minute, beginning with the most powerful moment of all, the moment you open your eyes and decide that today you will lead your mind before anything else leads you. The second habit that brought transformation was the consistent practice of autosuggestion. The deliberate act of speaking your goals, dreams, and beliefs into existence until your mind accepts them as truth. The subconscious mind does not analyze, it obeys. It takes whatever you feed it repeatedly and turns it into reality. Most people unconsciously program their minds with limitation, fear, and doubt through the words they speak and the thoughts they entertain. They say things like, "I can't," "I'm not ready," or "that's impossible." And with every repetition, they strengthen that belief until it becomes their identity. But when you understand the power of autosuggestion, you begin to rewrite the mental script that has been controlling your life. It's not just positive thinking, it's mental conditioning. It's the art of reprogramming your inner language to align with the life you are meant to create. The process is simple yet profound. Write down what you want in clear, precise language and repeat it daily with conviction. Speak it as if it already exists. The key is not in the words themselves, but in the emotion behind them. Subconscious mind responds to emotion far more than logic. When you speak your goals with passion and certainty, your mind begins to bridge the gap between imagination and reality. Over time, the repetition of these affirmations creates a new mental pattern, replacing old limiting beliefs with empowering ones. You start to act, decide, and move as if your goals are already accomplished. And that shift in behavior begins to attract the VE. Results you've been affirming. Tidby Art and Napoleon Hill emphasized this principle in his work because he understood the law of repetition. Just as water shapes stone through persistence, consistent thought shapes the subconscious. Every belief you hold today was formed through repetition, either yours or someone else's. The only way to break an old pattern is to replace it with a stronger one. When you tell yourself daily that you are capable, that abundance is your reality, that you are disciplined and focused, you begin to change your mental chemistry. You start noticing opportunities where before you saw obstacles. You begin to trust your vision more than your fears. It is not a miracle. It's the science of mental reinforcement. At first, your mind will resist because it's been conditioned to accept the familiar, even if the familiar is painful. The subconscious is loyal to routine, not reason. That's why consistency matters more than intensity. Say your affirmations when you don't feel strong. Speak them when everything around you seems contrary to what you desire. That's when they hold the most power, because in those moments you are teaching your mind that belief is not dependent on circumstances. You are asserting dominance over doubt. With enough repetition, a powerful shift happens. Your subconscious stops questioning and starts cooperating. It begins to work for you, drawing circumstances, ideas, and energy into alignment with the picture you have planted through your words. The habit of autosuggestion is the foundation of self-mastery. It is how you install new mental software that runs on faith instead of fear. It's how you move from hoping to knowing, from wishing to doing. Every word you speak is a command. Every affirmation is an instruction to your inner world. So, guard your language carefully. Speak only what you want to live, because eventually what you speak becomes what you see. The world outside will always follow the pattern that begins in the silent. Be of your own thoughts. When you take control of that inner dialogue, you no longer wait for the future to unfold. You create it, one declaration at a time. The third habit that changed everything was learning to guard the gate of the mind. Most people underestimate how much external noise shapes their internal world. Every conversation, every image, every piece of information that enters the mind leaves an imprint. The subconscious is like fertile soil. It does not care what seeds are planted. If you allow negativity, gossip, and doubt to enter unchecked, they will take root and grow into frustration, fear, and limitation. Guarding your mind is not about isolation, it's about protection. It's about becoming the gatekeeper of what you allow to influence your thoughts, emotions, and focus. The greatest minds, the most peaceful souls, and the most successful individuals have one thing in common. They are intentional about what they consume mentally and emotionally. They understand that what enters the mind eventually becomes a part of life's reality. When you start observing your environment, you quickly notice how much energy is wasted on things that do not contribute to growth. The media thrives on distraction. Conversations are often centered on problems, and many people unconsciously feed on negativity because it feels familiar. But familiarity is not the same as peace. To protect your mental state, you must decide what deserves your attention and what does not. Begin by asking yourself one simple question. Does this strengthen me or drain me? If it drains you, limit it. If it strengthens you, embrace it. Every piece of information carries energy. Every word you listen to or read carries vibration. By filtering what you allow in, you begin to take command over your emotional frequency. You stop being tossed around by every external storm because you've built a fortress within. Guarding your mind also means learning to detach from toxic conversations and influences. There will always be people who speak from fear, limitation, or resentment, but you are not required to absorb their energy. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's sacred. When you choose not to engage in negativity, you reclaim your mental strength. You begin to notice that silence is more powerful than argument, and distance is often the greatest act of self-respect. The moment you stop giving your energy to everything that demands it, you start to grow faster, think clearer, and feel lighter. You begin to attract experiences that match the calm and clarity you cultivate within. Your mind is the control center of your destiny. Imagine it as a temple. Would you allow anyone to walk in and vandalize it? Yet that's what happens when you give unrestricted access to toxic media, conversations, or influences. Guarding your mind requires vigilance and discipline. It means choosing books that build you, music that uplifts you, environments that expand you. It means saying no to unnecessary drama and yes to peace. The strength of your life depends on the purity of your mental environment. When you filter out the noise, your intuition grows sharper, your focus deepens, and your creativity begins to bloom. This habit alone can transform how you experience the world, because when your mind is guarded, your energy stays directed. You stop reacting impulsively and begin responding intelligently. You become less influenced by opinions and more guided by purpose. Protecting your mental space allows you to see with clarity, decide with confidence, and move with peace. The world may still be chaotic, but within you there is order. Within you there is silence, strength, and stability. And in that stillness, your power multiplies. Guarding your mind is not about escaping reality. It's about mastering it. Because once you take control of what enters, you inevitably take control of what emerges. The fourth habit that brought complete transformation was the discipline of focus. What I call the 1-hour rule. Every single day, dedicate 1 sacred hour to a single purpose, free from distraction, noise, or interruption. 1 hour where the phone is silent, the world is closed out, and your full attention is directed towards something that builds you, your craft, your vision, your purpose, or your growth. In that hour, you give yourself fully to creation, not consumption. This habit may seem small, but it is one of the most powerful tools of transformation. The mind thrives on direction. When you train it to focus deeply, it becomes sharper, stronger, and more disciplined. In a world addicted to speed and distraction, sustained focus becomes a superpower. Those who learn to control their attention can control their destiny, because focus multiplies results, while distraction destroys potential. When you first begin this practice, you'll realize how restless the mind really is. It jumps from thought to thought, craving stimulation, seeking escape. But that discomfort is the very proof that this habit is working. Training focus is like training a muscle. It resists at first, but the more you practice, the stronger it becomes. The mind that once wandered begins to obey. The chaos that once ruled turns into calm. By devoting 1 hour to total focus each day, you are not just building skill, you are building the habit of mastery. That hour becomes a daily appointment with your higher self, a time where no excuses exist, only effort. And over time, those hours accumulate into transformation. 1 focused hour a day is 365 hours a year, over 9 full work weeks of pure intentional creation. Imagine what can change if you treat that hour as sacred. The power of this habit lies not only in the time you invest, but in the energy you protect during it. The world constantly demands your attention. Notifications, conversations, force. You tell your mind, this moment is mine. It's a declaration of independence from distraction. During that time, ideas become clearer, solutions emerge naturally, and creativity flows freely because the mind finally has room to breathe. Focus is the oxygen of progress, and when you breathe it daily, your potential begins to expand beyond anything you imagined. There is a reason why extraordinary people achieve what others only dream of. They have learned to sustain focus where others scatter theirs. The difference between mediocrity and mastery is not intelligence, it's consistency of attention. Those who can focus deeply move mountains, while those who can't barely move forward. Every great invention, every piece of art, every breakthrough began with uninterrupted attention. 1 hour of focus daily creates momentum that no external challenge can stop. You begin to move with clarity, act with precision, and think with power. You stop chasing 100 things and start mastering one, and that mastery spills into every other area of your life. Eventually, this habit rewires your identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, who does what most people avoid, who creates in silence while others seek distraction. Focus becomes your foundation, your peace, your weapon. You realize that success doesn't come from doing more. It comes from doing one thing with total presence. Each focused hour becomes a conversation between your vision and your potential. It reminds you that greatness isn't built overnight. It's built in moments of deliberate, disciplined attention. The 1 hour rule is more than a routine. It's a declaration that your future is worth your focus. And when you honor that truth daily, your life begins to unfold with purpose, direction, and unstoppable momentum. The final habit that created a deep and lasting shift was the practice of ending each day with gratitude and reflection. Just as the morning defines how you begin, the evening, defines how you rest, recover, and reset the mind. Most people go to sleep carrying the weight of their worries, the unfinished tasks, the regrets, the negative emotions of the day. They replay what went wrong instead of what went right, and that mental noise seeps into their subconscious, shaping tomorrow before it even begins. But when you end the day with gratitude, you rewrite that internal dialogue. You tell your mind that no matter what happened, You choose peace, learning, and appreciation. Gratitude is not denial of struggle. It is the recognition of strength. It's saying, even though today wasn't perfect, I grew, I learned, I lived. And that simple shift turns the mind from chaos to calm. Gratitude is powerful because it transforms focus. It trains the brain to look for what's right instead of obsessing over what's wrong. The more you practice it, the more your perspective changes. Every night, take a few moments to reflect. Write down 3 things that went well or 3 lessons learned. They don't have to be extraordinary. Even small victories count. The mind responds to attention, and what you appreciate, you multiply. When you go to bed in a state of gratitude, your subconscious spends the night working in harmony with that vibration. You wake up lighter, clearer, and more centered. Over time, this practice develops emotional resilience. You stop carrying yesterday, burdens into tomorrow, because you've learned to release them each night with appreciation. Reflection is the second half of this habit. Gratitude looks at what went right. Reflection looks at what can improve. Before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I learn today? How can I grow from it? Reflection transforms experience into wisdom. It prevents the repetition of mistakes and builds the foundation for better choices. This simple evening ritual transforms your nights from restless to restorative. It cleanses the mind of unnecessary noise and replaces it with calm awareness. The day ends, not with stress, but with self-mastery. You begin to realize that success is not built only in the morning's motivation, but also in the night's quiet preparation. When you live with this practice, you wake each day free from mental clutter. You move forward with a heart that's light and a mind that's sharp. You begin to view life not as something happening to you, but as something happening for you. Gratitude creates the frequency of abundance, and reflection creates the structure of growth. Together, they form a nightly reset button for the mind and spirit. This habit reminds you that every day, no matter how ordinary, is a gift. And when you end it with awareness, you prepare yourself to rise stronger tomorrow. Gratitude before sleep is not just a ritual, it's a doorway into peace, alignment, and deeper self-mastery. As these habits begin to take root, something remarkable starts to happen within. You begin to feel a powerful inner shift. The noise that once ruled your mind starts to quiet. The restlessness that used to drain you transforms into calm focus. You start to experience life from a place of control rather than confusion. This is the moment when you realize that mastering your mind isn't just about achieving goals. It's about achieving peace. The world around you may not change immediately, but your response to it does. And that changes everything. You no longer react impulsively. You pause, observe, and choose your state of being consciously. Clarity replaces chaos, and with that clarity, you begin to move through life with confidence and ease. This transformation is subtle at first, but undeniable. You'll notice that things that used to frustrate you no longer hold the same power. The words of others, the noise of the world, the weight of challenges, they still exist, but they don't define your mood or direction anymore. You begin to understand that calmness is not weakness, it is power under control. A calm mind is a sharp mind, and a sharp mind creates eyes results. Once your thoughts become clear, your path becomes clear. You begin to make decisions that align with your highest purpose rather than your temporary emotions. The mind becomes your greatest ally instead of your greatest obstacle. This shift also reveals the deeper truth. Peace is not found in the absence of problems. It's found in the mastery of thought amid them. Life will always present challenges, but the difference now is how you perceive and handle them. Instead of drowning in overthinking, you focus on solutions. Instead of allowing fear to rule, you use faith as your guide. You stop waiting for perfect conditions and start creating them internally. This is mental freedom, the ability to remain centered no matter what's happening outside. It's the difference between surviving the day and shaping it. When clarity takes root, everything changes. Your energy becomes stable, your goals become specific, and your actions become intentional. You stop moving aimlessly and start advancing with purpose. This is the quiet strength that Napoleon Hill spoke about, the mastery of thought that precedes mastery of life. Once your inner world is ordered, your outer world follows naturally. Peace and progress begin to coexist, and you start to experience life from a higher state of awareness. You no longer chase fulfillment. You live it, moment by moment, through deliberate thought and focused energy. The inner shift is the reward for all the habits you've cultivated. It's the point where everything starts aligning. Your mornings bring focus, your days bring direction, and your nights bring peace. You finally understand what it means to master the mind, to live with clarity, purpose, and calm, regardless of what the world presents. This is not an escape from reality. It's elevation above it. And once you reach this level of mental balance, you become unstoppable because no external force can overpower a mind that has found its center. Then yours, and when your mind becomes disciplined, and focused, something extraordinary begins to happen. The law of attraction starts moving in your favor. You begin to notice that life mirrors your dominant thoughts. What you consistently think, feel, and believe starts showing up in your reality in ways that are too precise to be coincidence. This is not magic, it's alignment. The energy you give attention to expands, and the vibration you maintain determines the kind of experiences you attract. When you focus on growth, you meet opportunities to grow. When you dwell on fear, you meet situations that confirm it. The universe does not give you what you want. It gives you what you are prepared to receive. And preparation begins in the mind. The law of attraction is always active, either working for you or against you, depending on how you train your thoughts. As you master your mind, you begin to attract people, circumstances, and possibilities that resonate with your frequency. The same world you lived in before now looks different because you've changed internally. When your thoughts are clear, your path becomes clear. When your faith becomes stronger than your doubt, doors that were once invisible start to appear. The law of attraction is not about wishful thinking. It's about consistent vibration. You must think it, feel it, and live it. Every thought sends a signal, and every emotion amplifies that signal. When your daily habits align your energy with gratitude, confidence, and clarity, life naturally returns that same energy in the form of success, peace, and abundance. This is why emotional mastery is crucial. If your emotions are unstable, your vibration fluctuates, and so do your results. The universe responds to consistency. That's why practicing gratitude, focus, and belief daily is so powerful. They stabilize your emotional frequency. You begin to radiate steadiness, faith, and strength, and those vibrations pull matching energy into your experience. It's the reason confident people seem lucky. They are psi, imply aligned with the energy of certainty. Their minds project clarity, and life mirrors it back to them. The law of attraction does not play favorites, it obeys focus. Whatever you give your undivided mental and emotional energy to, it will grow. When you operate at this level of awareness, you stop chasing and start attracting. You understand that success flows toward those who are mentally prepared to receive it. You stop forcing outcomes and begin trusting the process. You speak what you desire, believe it, act on it, and allow life to unfold naturally. It's not about control, it's about alignment. You learn to balance effort and surrender, to do your part while trusting the unseen forces working behind the scenes. Once your thoughts, emotions, and actions move in harmony, manifestation becomes effortless. The universe rearranges itself to meet the frequency of your belief. The law of attraction in motion is simply the reflection of a mastered mind. You realize that life isn't happening to you, it's responding to you. Your thoughts are the cause, and your experiences are the effect. When you maintain thoughts of abundance, peace, and purpose, your world begins to reflect that same energy. You become a magnet for opportunities that match your growth. The law never fails. It only mirrors the energy you give it. Once you understand that truth, you hold the key to creating a life that feels guided, aligned, and unstoppable. Every transformation comes with a cost. When you decide to master your mind, you must also confront the patterns that kept you small. Breaking old mental habits is not easy. It requires awareness, discipline, and courage. The mind will always try to pull you back to comfort, even if that comfort comes with pain. It will whisper excuses, replay old fears, and resist new beliefs because it craves familiarity. But growth does not live in the familiar. The price of transformation is the willingness to let go of old stories, old emotions, and old versions of yourself that no longer serve your purpose. This is the stage where many give up, but those who persist discover their true power. The process of breaking patterns is uncomfortable because it challenges your identity. You're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing who you believe yourself to be. Every time you choose focus over distraction, gratitude over complaint, belief over doubt, you are rewiring your subconscious mind. The old version of you begins to fade, and the new version begins to emerge. It's a rebirth, and like any birth, it comes with pain. But pain is not punishment. It's proof of progress. It means your mind is breaking free from years of conditioning. It's shedding the layers of limitation that once defined your reality. You must remind yourself that resistance is natural. The closer you get to transformation, the louder the resistance becomes. The mind will question, who are you to change? And your answer must be, I am becoming who I was always meant to be. The struggle you feel is not a sign of failure, it's the breaking of chains. Every time you push through discomfort, you're teaching your mind that you no longer operate from weakness, but from strength. Transformation demands consistency. You cannot think like your old self and expect a new life to appear. You must align your thoughts with the version of you that already possesses the peace, power, and confidence you seek. This phase also requires patience. Growth rarely announces itself in the beginning. The results take time, but the process is always working beneath the surface. Just like the seed must break before it grows, your old patterns must shatter before your new reality can bloom. Don't fear the breaking. It's a necessary step toward freedom. Every moment of struggle is preparing you for greater stability. The pain of discipline will eventually become the peace of mastery. The more you persist, the lighter you feel because you're shedding everything that once held you. In fact, breaking old patterns is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. It's the moment of transformation when you step out of the old story and begin writing a new one. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, it's difficult. But it's also the most liberating process you'll ever experience, because once you rise beyond the old habits of thought and reaction, you gain access to a level of freedom that few ever experience. The freedom of knowing that you are no longer ruled by your past, but guided by your purpose. Once you've broken the chains of your old patterns, a new realization begins to dawn. You are not just a participant in life, you are its creator. This is the rebirth of self. The moment when your consciousness expands beyond survival, beyond reaction, into deliberate creation. You begin to see that everything you experience starts within. Thoughts are no longer random, they are tools. Emotions are no longer controlling you, they are signals guiding your focus. You awaken to the truth that you hold the pen to your own story. From this moment, life becomes less about waiting for change and more about generating it from the inside out. Every idea, every goal, every transformation starts with an internal decision. And when that decision aligns with purpose, nothing in the external world can stop it. Living as a creator means you stop blaming circumstances. You stop giving away your power to situations, people, or the past. You realize that no matter what happens outside of you, you control your response within. This awareness gives you complete authority over your state of mind. Challenges become lessons, delays become preparation, failures become feedback. You understand that life isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. Every event becomes an opportunity to practice mastery, to respond with intention instead of reaction. This shift changes everything, because the moment you take responsibility for your inner world, your outer world begins to align in ways that once felt impossible. The power of creation lies in your ability to visualize, affirm, and act from a place of faith rather than fear. You no longer wait for evidence to believe. You believe first, and the evidence follows. You hold the image of what you desire so clearly in your mind that it begins to magnetize the people, opportunities, and circumstances needed to bring it to life. Your actions flow naturally because they're guided by vision, not desperation. You move with calm confidence, knowing that every step is part of a greater unfolding. This is what it means to live as a creator. You live in harmony with the universal laws that respond to clarity, conviction, and consistency. But creation isn't just about manifesting goals or success. It's about becoming aligned with your higher self. It's about living intentionally, speaking with purpose, thinking with awareness, and acting with faith. The Creator within you understands that peace is not found in the absence of problems, but in the mastery of perspective. You choose how to see every experience, and that choice determines your vibration. A mastered mind doesn't chase external validation because it knows that everything external is temporary. True fulfillment comes from realizing that you already possess the power to create peace, abundance, and meaning from within. When you reach this level of awareness, you begin to radiate a quiet power. You become grounded, centered, unshakable. You no longer react to chaos, you influence it. You no longer seek control, you embody it. This is the true rebirth of self. You have mastered your thoughts, disciplined your emotions, elevated your vibration, and aligned your actions. You've stepped into the role life always intended for you, the conscious creator. The old self fades away, and what remains is strength, clarity, and divine purpose. You finally understand that mastering your mind is not just about personal growth. It's about spiritual evolution. You are no longer just living life, you are shaping it. As you look back at the journey, you realize that every habit, every moment of discipline, every act of faith was leading you here, to the awakening of the mastermind within. This is not a separate entity or mystical force. It is your highest state of awareness, the union of thought, emotion, and willpower working in perfect harmony. The mastermind is born when your conscious desires align with your subconscious beliefs and your actions mirror that alignment daily. It's the place where doubt no longer dominates because purpose has taken over. It's where fear loses its voice and clarity becomes your compass. You no longer wonder if things will work out. You know they will because your inner world has already created the outcome long before it arrives. The mastermind within you is a calm force. It doesn't need to prove itself or seek validation. It operates from stillness, not noise, from confidence, not control. It is the awareness that you are both the sculptor and the clay. Every thought is a stroke shaping your reality, and every belief is the foundation holding it all together. When you live from this place, you no longer chase success, you embody it. You no longer fight for peace, you become it. This inner mastery allows you to face uncertainty without fear because you know that life bends in the direction of your focus. You have discovered the greatest truth, control your mind, and you control your world. The vision of your life now expands beyond personal gain. When you master your mind, your energy uplifts others. You inspire not through words, but through presence. People feel the stability, the calm, the conviction in you because you radiate what they seek within themselves. The world doesn't need more noise. It needs more examples of inner mastery. And by living from the mastermind, you become that example. Every thought you choose, every emotion you regulate, every goal you pursue with discipline becomes a ripple that elevates everyone around you. The message of this journey is timeless. Your life changes the moment you decide to take command of your mind. It doesn't take years. It takes a single moment of awareness repeated with consistency. The habits that shape your destiny are not complicated. They are simple, but they demand commitment. Gratitude, focus, discipline, belief, and intention, these are the tools that awaken the mastermind. When practiced daily, they form the foundation of a life filled with purpose and power. You stop living by chance and start living by design. So as this journey closes, remember this truth. You are not a product of your circumstances. You are a product of your mindset. The world around you will always change, but the world within you decides how you experience it. The master mind is already within. It's waiting for you to claim it. When you do, life becomes not a struggle to survive, but a masterpiece you consciously create. One thought, one habit, and one powerful day at a time.